Is that O that happens in some coastal places like coastal Texas, where you say, I don't know if I'm gonna go. Washcloth, Washington, water. When they hear a word like Washington, that it's actually a word that there was an R in it. And over time.
Okay, so you may know her from TikTok. That is Florida linguist. Her videos are all about accents and how we all talk.
This is really fascinating stuff. So we wanted to bring her on and talk about whether or not, and this is an ongoing debate, whether or not there is a Northwest accent. Paula Van Landingham, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good to have you.
Good morning.
All right, so first things first, does the Pacific Northwest have an accent?
The answer is always that everyone has an accent, but there are some parts of the United States that have fewer of the features that you can pick out, so it passes for standard. So, you know, if it's not Eastern, if it's not very Northern like Fargo, if it's not Southern, then people sort of think it's just standard American English, which in general it is, but there are some features that are not necessarily unique Northwest, but it is a part of what makes it sound like a Pacific Northwest accent.
Okay, so give us some particular characteristics of a Northwest accent.
Right. So, you know, as American English moved across the continent, there were some changes in vowels over time in history and with population. So when you had the original colonies, there was a difference between the word cot, sleep on a cot, and caught, C-A-U-G-H-T, as in caught a cold, caught a ball. And on the eastern seaboard, that original vowel, like caught, was more pronounced like the British English, caught. Over 400 years in New York, it became caught, ball.
Yeah, and then Boston's like quad.
Right, quad. And as the population moved across all that territory and the population thinned out, the game of telephone broadened out those differences. So when you have, you know, 8-9 million people present time in the city of New York, you can have 50 different dialects within a few square miles. The entire state of Washington has just under that population for the entire state, and crossing the Rockies and all of that distance broadened out something that was really specific on the East Coast. So now in the Pacific Northwest, they call it the cot merger. It's the same vowel now. So somebody would say, I caught the ball and then I slept on a cot, same vowel.
Right.
Whereas you get to the Midwest, it begins to be caught,
Cat.
and then you get to the East Coast and you might get caught and cat, very different. So I've been listening to you guys all morning, and from meteorology to news, several of you have been saying things like talk, walk, a little bit, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but instead of talk, walk, and it's still very standard American, but you can tell that's the Northwest. It's not the South, it's not the far Great Lakes, it's not the East. And that's what positions you guys, I'm saying you guys, that's my Northern, as identifiably Northwestern.
So Liz, you fooled her, because Liz is a Michigander.
I'm from Michigan. So can you hear that? Can you hear it?
Because I've listened to you and I was like, okay, north of the 40th parallel, maybe up to the 45th, east of the 100th, okay? And so I had you in a corner of about Iowa to northern Illinois, so I was close. Is it southern Michigan?
Yes! You are good! Oh my gosh!
That's pretty good. Okay, so
you're like a magician. Wow. Okay.
So Paul, we were talking about kind of an anomaly out here. Some people around here, including Brian's dad, say Washington.
Yeah,
we pronounce
that?
Why is that?
Yes. So just like I was saying, that as we moved from the colonies across the entire continent, all of that immigration began to mix between a British accent, which would be what we call non-rhotic, no R.
Right.
Father, mother, sister, Bridger, ton, right? And then you get 1 million Irish people coming to the United States in about the mid-18th century, including out to Washington State too. But the Midland accent, where all of that Irish mix was coming in on top of a British accent, you have British people who might have been saying, we're going to go to war, General Washington. And when Irish speakers, who definitely are a rhotic accent, and will say Irish, Warsh, my car, washing, they heard an R in the word and applied it to other words. Like, well, we're going to war, and that's General Washington, that's right. And then as those populations moved across the United States, they brought that to Washington State, named after General Washington, right? And so, and of course you had with the gold rush, the railroad expansion, all of that happened in the Northwest, a lot of Irish were there too, and brought that pronunciation there. So that is why you get people saying and extrapolating that to, I have to wash my car, I have to wash my hands,
Paula,
because it was originally.
Paula, you are delightful to. I feel like I could listen to these accents all day. But I want to ask you, Fred Armisen went on Conan in 2020. I hope we have time to ask this really quick. He did this thing called the Seattle accent, and we were wondering if we could get your thoughts on this clip. If you think, what do you think of this? Okay, can we watch this?
And then Seattle is a very presentational accent. Seattle is very. It's like they're presenting you.
Yes, I go there all the time. My wife is from Seattle, and we go there all the time to see her parents. And yes, you're exactly right. They always act like they're showing you a new car they bought. When,
Yeah, it's like a little. Every word's like a little gift.
Yeah.
And then going down.
So what? So is that? Would you call that an accent? Is he talking about something that you identify with here?
Yeah, what that is that there are some people whose linguistic tradition of where they live has a certain flavor to it. And in this case, the Pacific Northwest is a bit of a good storyteller. So teachers are good at this, lawyers are good at this, where they, and so are broadcasters. So this is something where when you're speaking, you're creating a picture. So when you say, in the morning, I wake up and I have my coffee, and you're painting the picture of what the story is. People who are more monotone are not highlighting certain pieces of the story. And so they might have a kind of more mumbled accent that doesn't do it as very much. And it's a very different style. So it's just a habit of the kind of presentational storytelling that is appreciated in the Northwest. So that's what comes out as part of the accent.
There you go.
Paula, you are. I wish we had like 30 or 40 more minutes with you. Like I really, I'm obsessed with you. You're so good. We love you. Paula, thank you so much.
All right. Well, now you'll be listening to yourselves all day.
Oh, all day, all day. And again, if people want to find you on TikTok, what is it?
It's Fleur de Linguist, so like Fleur de Lis, but Fleur and then underscore DE and then linguist.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm a linguistic anthropologist, so that's the play on words.
You're fabulous. That was fun.
Great stuff. Paula Van Landingham. Appreciate you.
Have a great day.
All right.